Hello, hello, welcome to Southern Handmade. My name is Patrick. I'm so glad you're here. When I started on YouTube, I committed myself to showing you everything I made, more or less. If I could record it, it was going to be there, even when sometimes projects didn't go bad. That's why I say with confidence, I ain't afraid of no sculpt. And you know why I say that? Because who am I going to sculpt today? A Ghostbuster. That's right, I'm doing Peter Venkman from Ghostbusters. That's right, Bill Murray himself. It's going to be great. I sculpted this on my Twitch stream, twitch.tv/southernhandmade, and it's a great place, so you should come check it out. I think it'd be great to see you there, but for now, let's get to the sculpt. So our first step, as always, is to begin marking out the face. Get the middle of both the vertical and horizontal lines, and give some slight impressions as to where our eyes might be. We measure in where the bottom of the nose is going to be, where the mouth is going to be, and then we start looking at it at multiple angles. Looking at the side first to try to get an accurate representation there, and then starting to build up features like the nose and the mouth. I also deepen the eye sockets more and more as time goes on. I also realized that my forehead was probably a little bit too far back, so I added a strip of clay to build up that forehead. I also want to build more structure to the face, so I added some clay to the cheeks and then blended that in as well. And I repeated that on the other side, trying to match the two sides to make them look accurate to the photos and to each other. I began to work on the nose by pushing in some nostrils. Then I add some clay to help form the palette of the mouth. This is where I'll be able to draw the lips. I add some more clay in order to build up his chin. And now it's time to redraw in the lines for the mouth in order to start shaping it. Use a tool to slowly pull out the lips, place them in a position that I think is appropriate. And use a bunch of tools like a ball stylus to smooth out that lip. I adjust the nose a little bit because I don't think it's quite right yet. And trust me, I'll adjust it some more later. With that, it's time to mark in where the eyes need to go. So I mark in the two ends of the eyes horizontally, roll out some balls of clay, and place them in the eye sockets evenly, roughly to the size and shape that the eyes are going to need to be. Once in place, I blend them into the face to suggest that there's a round ball underneath the eye. And then I build up the eyebrow, starting with the bottom and then working my way along the top, trying to replicate the various folds here and there along the eye. You can see me adding little bits of clay here, just trying to build up the shapes appropriately. And I repeat it on the other side as well. Next, I wanted to put some of the eyebrow in. Now, I often struggle with eyebrows, so in this case I decided to do slightly raised eyebrow in terms of adding clay for the eyebrows, and then going through and drawing in the shape of the eyebrows, hairs on top of that. When both were done, I was able to take a look at the face, and I realized that there were some problems that I didn't quite like. So, I took a tool and sliced that nose off. It was time to start again shaping that nose. At this point, he looks more like Voldemort than he does Bill Murray, but we'll get back to him soon. When I felt happy with the face, I particularly raised the nose away from the face, and then I blended in a smaller nose, trying to be accurate to the face. Then this is what it looked like at the end of day one. I adjusted the eyes a little bit off camera, and I was pretty happy with it, and it was time to do some hair. For this kind of hair, I decided to do a sort of hybrid of my two approaches, building in the shapes of the hair first by applying some Bacon Bond and then slowly but surely adding blocks of clay in order to create the basic shapes. You can see me doing that step by step here, starting with the front, working along the two sides. Adjusting the main hairline, and then filling in the back of the hair as well. When I felt happy with the basic shape, I went around and started to detail in those lines, making sure the sideburns were where they needed to be. And then I started to add in bits of clay to make some of the larger curls that he has. This was particularly important around the front of the sculpture in order to get some of the dynamicness of his hair before shaping in the lines. When it came time to add the lines, I started drawing in some lines and removing lines with one of my gouge tools, trying to follow the shape of the hair as you would expect a slightly messy hairstyle to go. And then building in smaller curls coming out of the body, like so. This was largely a feeling exercise, feeling where I thought the hair would need to go, and then building the hair up from there. I blended in each of these extra curls. At this point, I realized that the side of my hair was a little bit too flat for the kind of hair that Bill Murray has in this film, so I added extra bulking of clay to both sides and gouged them in as well, just to make them a little bit more natural. Once everything was in like that, I took a straight edge tool and started shaping the hair as best I could, both drawing in the lines of the hair and separating out a few gaps that had yet to be separated. And finally, I used a ball stylus to draw in some of the finer details of the hair. And we were basically ready. It was time for me to do some ears, so I quickly rolled out some ears, blended them to the head on either side, and when I was happy, I felt like we had gotten a pretty good Bill Murray. And so it was time to work on some of the clothing. I used a strip of clay to simulate his t-shirt underneath his larger jumpsuit, and then began to form a collar. This is the typical way I do a collar, by taking a larger piece of clay than I need to, positioning it along the body with some narrowing dynamics, and then rolling the corners just to make that collar pop. And finally, I blended in along the body as well. I worked to detail the collar a tiny bit and add a zipper. And then it was time to begin working on the rolls and wrinkles of his outfit. So I took some clay snakes, placed them along the body in a way that I thought reflected the various wrinkles that he has in his shirt. When all the shapes were down, it was time to start blending them in. Just taking them one at a time, trying to make it look as natural as possible, while keeping some of those raised wrinkles up. This is a slow and steady process, but if you take your time and trust your instincts, you can get a lovely looking wrinkle by the end of the process. I repeated this on the other side, and also made a square of clay for his name tag. And when all was said and done, it was time to prime and get ready to paint. So for painting, I mixed a skin tone that I thought reflected the image I was working with and applied it over the course of the entire face. The early stages of painting are all about blocking in colors that you can later refine step by step to make things look more natural. I sped things up here so you can see the process, but you should get a nice view of what is being accomplished. Use brown for some hair. It took a couple layers to get this color right, but I just kept layering on again and again and again, just trying to cover up that white and get a nice look on the hair. The jumpsuit in a tan color, nice and easy to color in, and then black for the t-shirt and for his name tag as well. Detailing in the eyes, it was a matter of painting some red and then going through to do some skin tone highlights. You can see me applying both dark layers and light layers of paint here to the skin, trying to capture the essence. And then an extra dark layer for the 5 o'clock shadow that he has. Just trying to get that Peter Venkman, didn't really take care of myself kind of look. Color in the eye by doing a layer of black. A layer of the color of the eye, which I believe is blue. And finally, we dot the eyes to add a little bit of life and light. We're just about ready. The last thing we need to do is line in those eyes just so they pop out from the skin a little bit more, and it sort of stands to imitate the look of eyelashes. I painted his name, and then it was time for the final reveal. And there we go. We've got Peter Venkman here, and I'm really happy with how this one turned out. I really love the way the stubble kind of looks with that 5 o'clock shadow. I love the wrinkles on it, and I think there are certain angles that it really looks like him. Of course, it doesn't always look exactly like the person I wanted to, but I really see some Peter Venkman here. I'm very happy with how this one turned out. If you liked it, you can always let me know in the comments and hit like and subscribe. That would be great. Of course, you can join me where I sculpt these live on twitch.tv/southernhandmade, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Come join us. We're just a nice community of people who love hanging out, talking about sculpting, and a bunch of other weird and strange things. It's a good time, though. Please check it out. And of course, there's lots of other videos here on the channel. You can watch my progress from my earliest days of doing busts all the way till today. Maybe I've improved, maybe I haven't. Hard to say. The only way to know is to watch. So check those out. And of course, until next time, keep being awesome.